Well, I got some updates for you. These are some TwoSun kitchen knives. So, yeah, I've had some fun with these recently. This one is a TS999. I didn't open that one because I actually had two of them. So, here we are. This guy is a 977. And this is kind of your standard 8-inch chef style knife. Forged actually from 14C28N. Nice G10 handles with some, mosaic pens. And this guy worked out pretty darn good. It wasn't my favorite of the chef's knives, but it did work out quite nice. It's very traditional French style, I suppose you would say. Let's see. Now, this guy was the 888. This one was the one that Wong actually designed. And it looks like a gigantic Bowie knife. It also has a little bit shorter of a handle to it. And a very, very large slope going up to the handles on it. And this guy did a pretty darn good job as well. Might not be my absolute favorite design for a chef's knife overall, but yeah, it's super wicked. And heck, if you got a different sheath than this, you could probably do some crazy stuff outdoors with it. But it's certainly interesting because I do like the designer. Oops, no, I'll put that back there in a second. Alrighty, now this is the TS999 that I actually had open and used. And this was my favorite of the bunch. It's essentially the same as the 977, but actually has a little bit of a clip point up there at the front, which actually was surprisingly comfortable for doing some more detailed work up at the tip, because you didn't have quite that tall thing there. And yeah, I mean the balance on these guys is pretty darn good. You can see I nicked myself a little bit earlier. I recently sharpened up this guy. This is like the 292. Yeah, number 88. But yeah, this thing is irresponsibly sharp right now. I was just trying to clean off some tape glue from opening up all these things, and yeah, it went through the cloth that I was using to clean and through my finger. Didn't cut deep, but yeah, didn't hurt either, because wow, that thing was like a laser. But anyway, from the standard European style 14C28N forged knives, so they're 800 and 900 series. This one was certainly my favorite, the TS999. And I do want to basically replace that with the current chef's knife that I have right now, which is a Nexus knife. I guess the problem with that one being is that it's 9.5 inches long, and I just don't cut anything that requires that. So it's just a little bit unwieldy. So yeah, there's that. Those are kind of the updates there. However, I did recently get a hell of a lot more in. So yeah, I just labeled these guys to be able to distinguish them. So yeah, we can take a look at these guys. I have not used these things yet. I plan to over the next little while, but these are generally a lot more Asian style rather than European style. This one I was super fascinated with. This is that's the 509 Tonto style one. And yeah, this guy looks super interesting. Obviously, it's more Asian style, so it's not going to have the giant forged bolster. It's going to be a tang of some sort. This guy's got those mosaic pens as well. Get a nice shot up on that. They're kind of pretty. But this is going to have ebony handle, but the front part here, I believe, is just a plastic of some sort, probably Delrin or something like that. But yeah, this guy looks super nice. I really do like the patterning on this one. It looks a bit different than any of the rest of them that I've seen like that. And you got, of course, the hammer things there. So I'm super excited to give this thing a shot. It's also using, it's another one of those blank CR blank kind of steels, but one that I am certainly not familiar with. If you actually hold on for one moment, I can actually take a glance at my spreadsheet and it will tell me, and I can kind of relay that on to you. There we go. It's 15 CR12 MOV. And I haven't really seen that on anything else. So, yeah. Alright, this is the 519. This one is a little bit more European style. But it is, of course, Damascus. I already got some fingerprints on there. But otherwise, it still has a lot of oil still left on there. This is interesting. Obviously, it's got some G10 handles with that mosaic pen. These also have red liners. Interesting. This one actually has a bit of a cutout, kind of like that Tonto one, I guess, if you really wanted to curl around there or really bite down on it. You can get up there and keeping your finger out the other side. So that one's interesting. Should be fun. This one's got quite the fat handle on it. There we go. Like I said, I haven't used any of these guys yet. I do plan on it over, the course of the next, probably a couple of months, because, well, I don't eat that much to be able to just slice up a million things. Now, this guy is also interesting. It's kind of the same kind of idea, where it's still got that Damascus or layered steel kind of thing going on there. But this one's got, just fully black G10 on there. No cutout or anything, but this one is forged. So you do have that bolster going through all the way to the end there. This one's got a decent weight in the back of it too. It's just ever so slightly handle heavy on there, which is interesting. Most of the time I will see things that if they are going one way or the other, they will be blade heavy. So that's kind of interesting. Alrighty, so those are the super big ones. These ones are actually in a little bit smaller size box. Alright, so this is going to be one of those vegetable cleavers. Usuba is the word that I want to use, but I think that's probably quite incorrect. But yeah, so this one's the same style that we had before. This one's got ebony wood and man, I don't remember. I don't think they called it rosewood. Maybe it was cherry wood. But yeah, very attractive piece there. Yeah, this guy's still got oil and whatnot, because I'll essentially wash the knife right before I'm going to use it. But yeah, these guys are kind of interesting where they don't have a full tip on there. You can see basically at the very end there it comes up, but yeah, absolutely no stabbing capability on these guys whatsoever. And yeah, this guy is definitely blade heavy. Which certainly makes sense when, you got a long knife with, just kind of a rat tailish kind of thing going on in there. But, very attractive. It's got that kind of octagonal Japanese style. Kind of reminds me of those Spyderco chef's knives that they worked with. The guy's name escapes me off the top of my head because it's not Bob Kramer, but he was the guy I was thinking of beforehand. But yeah, it does kind of remind me of that style there. All right, these guys. This is another one of those Asuba cleaver kind of guys. It's got some interesting Damascus style going on there. A little bit more than just a couple of layers here. Kind of has a bit going on there in the back. I can definitely tell that this is G10. It's got that look to it where you can actually see the fiberglass fibers. What I can say, this guy is nice and balanced right here in the middle. It also weighs just an incredible amount. This is designed to be a vegetable cleaver, but wow, this thing has a lot more heft to it. Like this thing, you could probably hack through squash and a whole bunch of other stuff. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. Maybe not a perfect replacement for like a Chinese style Santoku or something like that. This thing is yeah, quite a bit more weighty, but yeah, very attractive. I do like it quite a bit. We'll see how these things work. I have another one in this style. It's probably the next one I'm going to grab, but I will find out. Yeah, it is. Okay. Oh, sorry. This is the 506. This is basically that same kind of thing. Same woe heft to it. But this has a Santoku finish to it. More interesting. Well, they call it Damascus, but yeah, we all know it's basically just layered with a core. Because, well, that's how almost all of them do it. But, yeah, this guy bounces a little bit further back, obviously, because the handle is basically the same as the other one, but it's a Santoku, so it's a little bit smaller. But it's still interesting, still a lot of heft to it, more than the 14C28N forged one, which was a large favorite for me. So now that I think about it, there we go. Yeah, so I have used this one. This is the 933. That's the this is the Santoku. It's got the Kullenschliff or Granton Edge or whatever the hell else you want to call it. With the G10 handles and the mosaic pen there. Super attractive. Very nicely weighted. I actually have a couple of these purchased, and they are what I'm going to be sending to my mother and my sister. Because, well, these things are just freaking amazing, and they're a little bit shorter than a chef's knife, obviously. Most Santokus are around 7 inches instead of 8. So it's a little bit less intimidating for them, and, you know, it doesn't have the pointy, stabby thing of a lot of chef's knives. And, yeah, these things are amazing. They got a super nice edge on them. I could put a little bit better one on them for them, but, you know, they don't necessarily do a lot of sharpening. So we'll leave it at the factory edge, and then if they do need to get it sharpened, well, I suppose they could send it back to me, or, you know, try and figure it out either way. But, yeah, I really, really like these things. They're quite nice. The 14C28N steel in there should be pretty darn fantastic. So, yeah, those were supposed to be Christmas presents. But the second one of these, I'm still waiting for it to come in. So, once that happens, I will send them out at the same time. All right. So I got one last one here. And yep, it's another one of those veggie cleaver kind of guys. This one is the 517. And yeah, it's got the straight line laminated steel there. It's got the G10 handle. I really hope this is the last one that I was talking about. It kind of seems familiar, but if not, oh well, I'll figure it out. But yeah, because I got 7 new ones that I'm showing off here. But yeah, this guy's quite interesting. It still has that you know, not stabby tip on there. This one, the shoulders on it actually really dive into the handle really quickly there. It's not a sloping transition, which some people might like, some people might not like. But the bounce is great. Basically just past the bolster. And yeah, nice smooth. This one's obviously G10 as well. You can certainly see the fiberglass rings, or not rings. The fibers. That's the word I'm looking for. So yeah. So I have some more kitchen knives that I need to test out. I do have a couple of more that are still coming at some point. They use that a little bit more the Japanese aesthetic, like I've shown on a couple of them, where it's got the hammered dimples in there toward the top. And yeah, I guess I can show those off whenever they actually come on in. Something interesting to see with these knives is that they're obviously not all using the same steel. Like I said, there was a couple of those interesting guys with the 15CR12 MOV, and there's a couple of those. A lot of them are using 10CR 12 MOV, which is all right. And then some of them are using what is it? It's 5CR something or other. Yeah, 5CR15 MOV, which sounds terrible compared to you know, a lot of the super cheap pocket knives that uses 8CR13 MOV. But 5CR15 was designed to be basically using the same formulation as XCR15 MOV, which is a steel that a lot of German manufacturers were using for their knives. Messermeister still uses it for some of theirs, including their vegetable cleaver, which has so far been the one that I've been using for a very, very long time. You know, they don't keep their edge quite as good as, you know, some of the more modern steels, but it still does a pretty darn good job. And so it's probably not one to absolutely turn your nose up at. But that being said, I still do think that these forged ones in 14C28N are just going to be fantastic for that. Obviously, if they're going to be heat treated a little bit lower than they are in their pocket knives, because you need that extra malleability in your chef's knives, because you know, when you do some crazy whacking or whatnot with it, then you need it to be able to take all of that into consideration. So yeah, they are going to be a little softer than their pocket steel counterparts, but they're still going to last a lot longer than a lot of the other kind of traditional European knife steels and whatnot. So I do think that's a nice compromise there. The Nexus knife that I have is actually using carpenter steel, BD1N, But, like I said, it's just enormous. And, well, I'd much rather pass that on in its current state to somebody else who would probably appreciate it, rather than me basically reshaping the thing back down to an 8-inch or so chef's knife and throw off the balance a little bit. So there we go. Alrighty, well, this was a heck of a long video. But yeah, I am having a lot of fun with these kitchen knives. It's something that TwoSun has made for a little bit, and it seems like no one's really all that interested. But I guess, kitchen knives, outside of the chef industry, is a little bit more of the domestic style that a lot of dudes aren't super into. So that's okay. I've well, when I was in relationships, the females I almost wouldn't trust to boil water. So it was basically I had to learn to cook for myself, or I'm just gonna eat frozen garbage for the rest of my life, and I wasn't all into that. So yeah, I do enjoy cooking and all that sort of good stuff, and I do appreciate these nice kitchen knives. I should probably at some point kind of walk you through the knives that I do have and use currently for my setup, because they do range quite a bit. I have some Nexus, I have some Hinkles, I have some Messermeister, I have one Shun, which is the paring knife, and yeah, there's some others in there. So yeah, just interesting kind of stuff. Uh, well, I don't really think of how to end this, but yeah, more kitchen knives ahoy. Anyway, like I was saying at the beginning of this, I did take a look at those that first set, and my current favorite for the chef's knife is the TS999. It's basically the standard chef's knife thing, but it does have a little bit of a clip going on at the tip there, so you have a little bit more tip control, but it's still nice and strong. And the TS933, which is their Santoku and 14C28N, is fantastic. Enough so that I plan on gifting it to other family members, and hopefully getting one again for myself. So, alrighty. Well, I appreciate y'all for watching, kind of getting through a lot of this stuff. I kind of don't anticipate anybody's actually watched this far in the video because I haven't shown any more knives recently. So, as always, I appreciate y'all, and have yourselves a wonderful rest of your day, yo.